This day, I have perfected for you your religion, and completed my favor upon you, and have chosen for you Islam as your religion.
The sect is, the definition of it, المجتمعون على أصل بدعي يفارقون به جماعة المسلمين علما أو عملا. علما أو عملا. Those who gathered around a principle or a fundamental issues. And this principle or this fundamental issues, it is bid'ah, it's something new, invented in the religion, and it's innovation, and they gather around it, and they left the jama'ah of the Muslimin. In a sense, they left the Muslimin by gathering around their principle and holding to this new principle against the Muslims or the Islamic fundamentals of the Islamic principles. They invented one new principle, then they held tight to it. And they left the religion of Islam, or they left the way of the Prophet ﷺ Sunnah, or they left the Muslimin, the group of Muslims. Such as, give you an example to make things more clear in your mind. In Ali ibn Abi Talib's time, people came up with the principle. They said, if you commit major sin, you are kafir, not Muslims. Muslims used to believe if you commit a major sin, you're still a Muslim, but you're a sinner, or wrongdoer, or fasiq. They said, no, you became kafir. What they did, they said, let all of us leave Ali and his group and gather in a city it's called Harawra, city close to Kufa, and they gathered in that place and they left the Muslims. See, this is a practical way of leaving the Jama'ah. Or going against the Imam of the Muslimin, fighting him and fighting the Muslims. Or leaving them, separating themselves. You see, they separate themselves in a masjid, in a group, they separate themselves physically from the Muslims. See, for example, the Shia. They have their ideas. They separate themselves from the body of the Ummah. They got their own masjids. They got their own places for worships. They have their own Eids. They have anybody gathered or any fundamental or principle, then he will leave the Ummah based on this principle. And this principle is not from the Quran was Sunnah. It's not from the Quran was Sunnah. If you hold to the principles of the Quran and Sunnah and everybody else left you, you are the Jama'ah. You are the one who holding to the truth. You are the majority, even if you are one. Ibn Mas'ud said, you are the majority even if you are one. The majority is what is in the Quran and Sunnah. The majority is the truth, is the right path. Therefore, when they've been asked, who's the majority in such and such town? They've been told Muhammad ibn Aslam al-Tusi, one man. In the whole town, he's the majority, he's the Jama'ah. Because he's the only one in that town who was following Al-Kitab al-Sunnah. So that's a very important meaning to be realized when we look to the meaning of the firqah. طيب. What if somebody invent principles or invent bid'ah, new issues in deen, in religion, but he did not separate himself from the ummah? He didn't separate himself from the ummah. We don't call him group. Give you an example to help you to understand. In all the Muslims' history, 400 or 300 years, Muslims never had this idea of that a particular person or group has to follow a certain individual to pick up a scholar or an imam and to say, I belong to this imam, I'm only following him. This has never happened in the Sahaba time, in the Tabi'een time, in the Tabi'een times. And so on. 3 generations, 4 generations maybe, nobody did this. Until new people came and said, no, we will choose among all the scholars in Muslims world 4 imams. And we only say you are not allowed to follow, you're not allowed to say I'm not going to follow any one of them, and you cannot follow all of them, you have to follow only one blindly in every matters. So you said I'm Hanafi, that means every single thing in Hanafi method, you have to take it. If you are Shafi'i, you have to take it, and so on. This idea never existed in the Muslim world. This is something invented, been added to the religion. Yani we never heard the student of Ibn Mas'ud said, we are Ibn Mas'udis. Khalas, that's it. Or we are Umaris. Or we are Ibn Abbasis. No. They never did. Or we are Ikrima's group. And no, it never happened. Those people invented this, that's true, in Islam. But they never separated themselves from the Muslims. Therefore, we don't call them group or sects. You see, we don't call متعصبة المذاهب a group. The extremism follower for the madhahib, that's not a group. It's not a sect. It doesn't have the definition of sect. Because they never separate themselves from it. They said, we are among you. But still what they did is wrong.